Yes, okay. We see it. So thank you. So hello, everybody. I'm very happy to have you here to listen to my presentation. My topic is I want to talk about the state of the art of the information security management in local governments. I think, is a special domain. Everybody knows the local government or the public sector. I think everybody has one contact a year or a couple of years later when he wants to buy a new car or something like that, or needs a new identity card. And so that's the reason why we are very interested in this topic. My name is Frank Moses. I'm from the University of Rostock in Germany. That's near the Baltic Sea. And I want to, yes, it works. I want to guide you through the presentation with the following agenda. First of all, I have a small introduction or the motivation why we or I am interested in this topic. I have one slide with the literature review because I think it's very important to let you through the literature we read and our research methodology. And for me, for this case, in this presentation, it's very important to show you the ISMS cases we conduct or we accompanied with different companies, and the second test group from outside the public sector. And last but not least, the summary. So first of all, what we find out during the conducted interviews with different organizations from the public sector and from the test group, for instance, the automotive, that's absolutely crazy that the speaker before talks about the automotive sector. There's at the moment there's a lot of going on in the automotive sector in terms of security. So a lot of automated processing of data and information now that plays a key role in the task of small and mid-size, and especially in the local governments. Um, the next thing we found out is that there's an essential that all the essential processes are significantly supported by information and communication technology, and that's a special thing in the public sector. Not all the processes take place with ICT. That's another problem, but they use it, but they can't handle it. There's often a problem. Next, we have the legal requirements, such as the GDPR, or in Germany, the Online Exact Act, and these are the driving forces of the digitalization in the domain public sector. And that brings a lot of problems with, and a lot of these organizations can't handle the problems because they have a lot of other problems, and the security is not the first problems they have. And so the next thing is that the increased reliance on the modern ICT increased especially the risk of information infrastructures being affected by attacks from the outside or from the domestic. The numbers in the here that shows you the way to the literature we found it. So, and the finding is, and that is the point where I'm very astonished, is that more than 75% of the organizations of the German public sector do not have an information security management system. That does not mean that they have no firewall or no malware protection or something like that. They do not have a management system to control the cybersecurity, the state of the art of the cybersecurity, or how resilient the systems are. And that's what you can't measure, you can't control, and that's the problem. At the moment, we are trying to expand the approach that I've present on the next slides to Austria, to Switzerland, or here in my country, beside here where I live in Luxembourg, to try or to prove our approach. So that we have a lack of information security, and that this lack can lead to the disruption of the performance tasks in the public sector. And it's very important for instance, for the democracy or something like that. If the German or the in general, the public sector or services does not run, we have a lot of problems with the people, with a lot of other problems, but it leads too far to talk about that. So the answer is, why is it so? Why do they have the most of the 75% do not have and information management systems. I think that's a very important amount. We have 10,000 public sector organizations here in Germany. And we're astonished. In Poland, it's the same. In Switzerland, it's the same. In France, it's the same. It's everybody the same. Everybody has to go to a small organization service from the public sector in a small village you live, or in big cities, and the first question was, why is it so? And the answer we found in the literature, we analyzed more than 500 different things from different databases. And the summary is, the literature talks about the hindering factors for the development of the cybersecurity strategies in the public sector. I think it's very typical, because it's easier to talk about the problem than to find a solution, or to talk about a solution. That's especially in the public sector. It's one of the most things I wrote in the literature. We have very often found validation of technical components. That means, yes, we use a tool, we use a technical component to solve the problem. That's not the right thing to use to build up, or to adopt and to implement and adopt a management system. You need something else, not technical components. And a lot of the literature talks about the analysis of the cyber attacks and the preventive measures. That's very okay, but if you have the measures, you don't have a management system above the measures. And if you have more than 6,000 measures, I think you can't control it. So the next point we found in the literature is the legal frameworks. Everybody talk about the legal frameworks, GDPR, and a lot of other things we have in around Europe. And the data protection is one of the biggest things we have here in the topic, in the concerns of legal frameworks. And then what I find very, very laughing was the lack of skilled workers in the public sector, often the time lag. But it's nothing to laugh, because the public sector, yes, it's not the public sector you earn a lot of money. So they have a lot of problems. I think it's a war for talents. The public sector has the problem not to find with the salary they pay the right people. So the people has not the expertise they need to protect the public sector against the attacks from the outside, or from the domestic. That's another problem. Then I read a lot of papers about the awareness measures. Yeah, that's very okay. And it's very important to involve all the people or the employees of an organization in the security process, but you have to do it with a plan. No plan, no success. So the next thing we found is the physical security and the security assessment. They talk about in the literature how to analyze it, how to make an audit, for instance. So like the ISO 20701 or something like that, or 9001 is a quality management norm. So they do not talk about maturity models to see how resilient is our system, or the development and establishment of an ISMS in the public sector. That's a problem, and the arrow shows you how often we find in the literature the papers about the hindering factors, and how seldom or how rarely we found papers about the maturity models, or how to implement or how to develop an information security management system in the public sector. Here, that's the small table shows you a summary from the most interesting things we found, and that leads me to the next slide. What is the research question? First, the basics in the public sector. Why have only a few public sector organizations built up an ISMS? Because on the other one hand side, that's a law thing. There's the law to implement, for instance, in Germany, but in the Switzerland and Austria, it's the same, and in different other European countries, it's all the same to implement an information security management system in the public sector. So what are the reasons for hindrance? That's another problem we try to find out. And the next point is the research methodology. We wanted to find out with a little help from different cases in the field of public sector and the test group, how can it work? to implement it the easy way, and a special an approach for a new approach for the ISMS in the public administration. That's a problem to get from now to the future. And everybody knows the geopolitical situation, and the public sector is not only that organization you can go for to get a new identity card. The public sector is very often responsible for the critical systems, water, gas, power supply, and all the different things, how to handle the water, the water support in times like now. We have in Germany the last couple of months more than 35 degrees. In my small village where I live, we have no water, and this is very important to understand how the public sector works on the one hand side. On the other hand side, how can we support them to implement a system to protect their infrastructure, to protect their processes. They have to work. That's very important for the people here in Europe. So what did we do? We analyzed 421 audit reports from different certification bodies from the German TÜV. I hope perhaps the one or the other knows this company. Another famous company is the DQS. There's a company in Frankfurt, number 5 in the world for auditing management systems, and they gave us from the last couple of years the 2,401 audit reports. And to secure to analyze the reports in the right way, we prepared a summary of codings to examine the audit reports, and the results of the recordings, the codings are the following. That's very important for us, were to find out, is there a management attention in the organization and the leadership? Is the organizational structure the right, or is there something to optimize? Which are the processes? What about the employee and awareness? Do they have a PCDA cycle or guidelines or documentation tasks, how to handle and what to do if we have a cybersecurity problem? Which tools do they use for the ISMS tool, the controlling, etc.? And which measure did they implement it before, or did they nothing? And what about the risk management and the continuous improvement process? Do they understand what it means, or do they nothing about the management system? And with a little bit help of the CMMI maturity level, we had this results. That means we analyzed the audit reports, and if you can see here, one is a very bad. Is very bad, and the number 5 is a very good. And so we have in the middle, the most they have the number 2, or perhaps the number 3. We have a lot of the audits did not pass the audit, and so in the end was they did not implement a management system. And the answer was the most cases is that we have no a management system that fits in the public sector. We tried with the ISO 20701. It's too complicated. For instance, the public sector, especially here in Germany, they do not have a risk management, because they are the German government is its own assurance. If there happens something, you have to pay it. The public sector had to pay it by itself. And so a lot of things could not derived from from other things, for instance, the 2000701. So what we did, I used the TOGAF approach, and try to derive a new model from the TOGAF, and the result is this. You can see on the right side, and in the middle we have different layers, five layers, and that's the compliance layer, the process layer, the application layer, the IT infrastructure layer, and the facilities. So if you have a running server infrastructure in your building and no door, I think you have not to be wondered if next Monday you have a server less. And so, but very important is the compliance layer. It's very important to lead the organizations to that they have to fulfill the requirements, the legal and law requirements. It means the small sign here, or the contracts with the people, or with their employees, and a lot of other things. But very important, that's in the middle, are the processes. What about the process? How to protect the processes? All the processes are running on special applications. I don't know, SAP, IBM, and a lot of things, and they do not secure them. And that's very important, because they give the job to the IT infrastructure, the people that handle the IT infrastructure. And that's the wrong way. You see the small line here in the middle between the processes and the applications. This is very important to understand how it works in the public sector. And in the beginning, all the people in the organization we interviewed said, yes, for us it's very important to know which applications we have, which IT infrastructure we have, and that's what we handle, and perhaps a little bit of the building. But they forget the processes, and they forget the compliances. And that's a very important thing. The question has to be, what are the five the most important business processes in your organization? And that's not the PDF program, or the Word program. No, it's the processes, and that's very important. I derive it from the compliance. Which things have I to fulfill in legal and law, or in especially to my customers? Which processes do I need for this fulfillment, and on which applications are responsible for these processes, and on which IT infrastructures do they run? That's a very important question. So, and the circle around, as you can see, the different colors from the TOGAF, we move it or transfer it to the circle. First of all, we have the point, or the step one. It's about the policy and the management attention. It's very important, and that's important to state, to put it in the step one. The policies, the management attention, the goals, and the stakeholders. These are very points from other things we derived, or we use it the best of breed from different approaches, but they have a lot of advantages in special domains, but not in the domain, the public sector. So we filtered it and said at the end of the day, so we use these 12 steps with special things to fit it, to make it better fit into the public sector. The next very important point is the employees' awareness. So as you can see here, that's the number two, the step number two, and it's very important. In my career, I think I'm so 30 years. I finished my university in 1994. Yes, it's a long time ago, and since this 30 years, I see very, very often that we implemented the project. In the end of the day, we said, here's the system and the computer. You have to look how to handle it, because the project was 30% more expensive, and so we had no money to supply the employees. And so that's for us what was very important to put this step in the number two, the employee and awareness, to make them clear why it's so important. The next thing is the building a team. That's very important. The policies and the documentation and so on. Very, very important in our approach is the IT service management process. For instance, the 20701 said, no, that's not our part. It's not our department. And so that's one thing we found out, that if you do not have the IT service management processes in this approach, they forget it. And so if they forget it, they don't have it. And that's one of the most important things. IT service management processes means, for instance, the update and the patch management. And if you can't control it, or if you don't manage it, and if you don't have it on the plan, you don't have it. So, and the next thing is, it's easy. The step 6 up to 7 is to model the infrastructure. It's very important. We transfer it from the TOGAF approach to model the infrastructure. That means that the application, the IT infrastructure, and the facility. And for those 3 layers. We have to implement a lot of measures from different catalogs. I don't know from where, but you can use with this approach and the software we developed different catalogs, the German BSI, the ISO 20701, and others. So, and very important is, we said, hey, you in the public sector, you don't know what the risk management is, but you have to know it. And so we found an easy way to implement the risk management at the right point after the modeling of the infrastructure, before the gap analysis step. It's very important to have an analysis step in this approach to find out where we are, what is our resilience. 10%, 50%, 100%. And that's very important for the next step, to planning the implementation. What is not 100%? We have to solve it. And so the next point is very important. Like another approaches is an internal audit, and in the end, the step number 12 is the revision to see where we are, where we're standing, how many of our tasks did we do in the last couple of months. That's the approach. And from the approach, I will come to the ISMS cases. We try to find out. We had 24 organizations from different sizes, small and mid-size, small organizations with 10 or 12 employees, and the biggest one is organization with more than 4,000 people. And so we conducted it. We accompanied them with our approach. Plus, we optimized during the last couple of years our approach. You see the graphic on the right side of the slide. That's a circle. We found out that's not so okay, and we think it over. And the next day we had a new approach, a new optimization in our approach, to support the 24 cases. So in the end, we did the audits again with the same codings: management, attention, leadership, until risk management and the SIP process. And as you can see now, we have an improvement with this approach. As you can see, the table from a couple of slides ago. And now we have a significantly improvement with the help of this approach, especially in the public sector. But we had different companies, for instance, I don't know, I don't see them, different companies, SME and so on. And we conducted the same project in the companies, and we came to the same result. They said it's very easy to handle it. It's like a fans. You have the layers, which is very important, in the middle of the approach, and the circle around. It's to be understood as a fans. You are like a sheep that has to go to the fans for a vaccination. You need only one sheep at the moment when you try to vaccinate it. So, and in other sides, the fence is a little bit wider, and you can move a little bit more. And that's very important, because it's a management system, not a process. A management system runs over a different couple of years, and you have to improve it. And that's one of the points we said it's very important to have a cycle. The approach should be the picture should be a cycle to see what happen when you are trying to establish, and the establishment and then the fusion of the information security management to improve the security level especially in the domain of the public sector. The summary is, yes, we conducted 24 ISMS cases in different levels of local governments and 2 or 3 companies. The new prototype procedure was used, I would say, with a success. We have an improvement. We did a cross-case analysis after the completion of the projects, in order to find out the patterns in the ISMS case series. So when we found different patterns, especially on the one hand side for the organizations from the public sector, and on the other hand side from the organizations from the test group, those companies, and a lot of them, a lot of things are the same for both the test group and the public sector group, and different things are things are different. And with our approach, we can fulfill the requirements of the public sector and other small and medium-sized mid-size companies. For instance, one automotive company. We had the test group outside the public that I mentioned it before. So, and the limitation of the study was at the moment is only the focus is on the German public sector, but we plan, or I have contact to different organizations in Austria, Switzerland, or in my hometown in Luxembourg. So the main result is we have an increasing resilience in the organization as a better understanding, because the people said after the project and the interview we did, we have a small and very easy and handle approach with 12 steps and 5 layers to build up our information security management system. And very, very important, we use the same 12 steps to do the next PDCA level of the Plan, Do, Check, Act the cycle. That for us is very easy. And with the tool we developed here at the university, we can support the organization, and it's very easy to adopt into the Fusion in the easy way. And so there's a little bit more research open on information security management systems in small and mid-sized organizations to find the right information, or to have the right information at the right time. And I think in the right time, that's very important because the hackers from the outside, they do not sleep, and in the right format to do, or to make strategic, tactical, operational decisions to make the better a little bit to make the company or the organization a little bit better. So what did you my watch? Yes, I'm 20 minutes. Thank you for your attention. For all these people that are interested in the literature I wrote, respective, these are the literature. What I think it's very interesting for all these that are interested in this topic, not in the topic public sector, in concerns of information security. This is the literature, and if you have further questions, I'm here.
Thank you for your interesting presentation.